I'm Wendy Crampton. I am the proprietor and owner of Bushey Colonic Hydrotherapy. I preside in Malton Fields in Bushey. I've been in practice now for 15 years and I'm an advanced practitioner of colonic hydrotherapy. Colonic irrigation is basically when we cleanse the bowel from all the impacted waste and stagnant waste that resides in the bowel. Unfortunately, in our modern world, the pressures of life weigh heavily on everybody. We don't have time to eat properly. We don't have time to sleep properly. We don't have time to relax. This has an enormous impact on the human body. The last port of call that gets the ultimate kick is the bowel. So many people suffer. Food choices aren't necessarily correct because speed of life goes too fast. You're busy at work, you're busy with family, you haven't had time to sit down. We don't get to hydrate adequately, literally for the same reasons. And sleep, well, you know, that can just be left in the pot, can't it, for some people? They burn the candle at both ends and in the middle, bless them. And they have to. Some people, you know, work 24/7 because the boss expects. Or they've got families, or they're looking after elderly relatives and there's just not enough time for self-care. Unfortunately, the bowel takes an absolute beasting. So lots and lots of problems arise, from constipation to diarrhea to IBS, and that comes in many, many categories, yet again, in covering all of those thoughts. And colonic irrigation is a fantastic method for cleansing the bowel, removing all that nasty waste that's causing such discomfort and pain and gas, allowing you a nice, clean, fresh start so that you can pick up with hopefully the right choices with food. Try and make some small changes in your life so that you can support the treatment you've just received. It's a wonderful boost to the system. For the last 15 years, I've been in practice here at Bushey, and I am blessed with thousands of wonderful clients that come to see me. Some have come to see me for the full 15 years. You don't need to come every week. You don't need to come every month. Some people like to come monthly. You're welcome to pop in and out to see me as and when it suits you and suits your body, because ultimately, you know how you rock more than I do. And I'm here to support and help you along your journey to get to where you want to be. The most immediate benefit from having a colonic is a lightness in the tummy. We remove impacted waste and gas, and that takes down the waistband. Lots of folk come out of the bathroom saying, oh, I've done my belt up another notch. Or, oh, I feel absolutely flat. I feel lovely. That's the immediate feeling that most folk can get. I personally support all of my clients prior to their first appointment, giving them the details of a lemon cleanse they can do the day before. This supports and helps the client's bowel to reach its best potential in one appointment. That doesn't mean always that one appointment is enough. It is for a lot of folk. It can completely reset and let them run away. But for some folk, maybe a little bit more time is required. But initially, the best feeling you get is a clean, light, airy feeling. Some people feel a lightness in their spirit, they feel a lightness in their mind. Some folk have explained it as they have a clarity in their eyes and they suddenly feel a bit refreshed and totally uplifted. Everybody's very, very different, but there's always a positive feeling coming out of a colonic. It's completely understandable. Nobody really wants to walk into a strange person's home and bare their bottom. Let's face it. However, I have been here for 15 years. I've seen thousands of folk. You have a gown to wear, there are drapes over your lap. The actual exposure of your back's hide is approximately 10 seconds. I do have to see where I'm going to place the equipment. I'm really not looking, I'm clinically looking. I'm then wrapping you up. We then have to take the scope away from you. That's a few seconds, literally seconds. We're really not here to embarrass you. We're here to support and to help you. So it's a very interesting thing because you can't explain a colonic to anybody. But once they've gone through it, they go, oh, that's what it's about. That was easy. It's a lot easier than folk expect. I work incredibly hard to keep your dignity because at the end of the day, I appreciate what dignity is. I myself have colonics. I myself am a lady and been through numerous things with the medics, and I appreciate the respect to dignity, and I work very hard to that end. I was inspired by a colleague, Leslie Schofield, bless her, some 15 years ago. I was going through a change in my life. I was a reasonably new mum. I was a businesswoman running another company that my husband and I built from scratch. And it wasn't really ticking all my boxes. I've worked with people all my life, and I wanted to work with people again and help. And Leslie happened to just intrigue me with what she was doing. I walked forward, I had some treatments myself, and I thought, this is so interesting. So interesting. I had bowel issues myself, having had children, having run a business. I was stressed, I was anxious, and that had caused problems in me. And the solution that I found within those treatments were really, really beneficial. The information I received from Leslie was amazing. I thought, crikey, how did I not know this? But I took the information on board and made the changes in life. And it just turned things around for me and made me think clearly. So I went forward to in those days, the British Association, and offered them forward all of my previous dental qualifications, and said, can I train, please? They wanted medical prerequisites, and they accepted me. And as they say, that was the start of it. It's been an incredible journey of learning. Every year, as practitioners, we have to complete over 30 hours of continual professional development. We have to keep learning. We have to keep on top of the game. Probiotics and supplements change yearly, and we need to be on top of that, and we are. And it's an absolute blessing because it keeps my mind running at a really lovely level. It's an absolute joy working with people on a daily basis. I am so blessed. People come to my home, albeit in my practice, but they come to my home and I work with them. And for a very vast number of those folk, they walk away with a little bit of something that they can go forward, work on, and harmonise and improve their life. And to me, that's absolutely groundbreaking. The background there, I had spent 12 years as a dental nurse, a dental radiographer, and an oral health advisor. I then trained to teach and taught nurses to sit their exams up in London. It was a phenomenal era. I absolutely adored dentistry. Unfortunately, having children wasn't quite so easy to go back into. I loved the teaching side. It was amazing. But in order to teach, I had to stay in full-time practice, which meant I worked full-time. I then taught at evenings and weekends at a local college that taught dental nurses, and at a private company in London that taught dental staff as well. And very sadly, I had to make a decision between being mum or being there. And I cut the chase with being mum because I had two sons eventually. And the colonic world has been amazing because I've been able to fit my world in around being mum. I wouldn't like to say I've had my cake and eaten it because nobody finds the perfect solution to that. But I've had a really, really beautiful time being mum and being a practitioner because they can both harmonise together. I was sitting in my sewing room. I'm a little bit of a beaver. I adore to sew. I patchwork and quilt. I exhibit quilts. I belong to quilting and sewing groups. I do some dressmaking as well. And since one of my sons has left home, I've been blessed. I've pinched his bedroom and my husband's converted it to a sewing room for me. So that's where I'm able to sit and be. My other major passion and hobby is bell ringing, which of course in this season I can't do. But we're playing lots of bell ringing on simulators online, which is really good fun as well. But as a day, throughout this very sad crisis, I have converted my world into a little bit of a sabbatical, and I've spent a huge amount of time in the sewing room. I've been incredibly blessed to be part of the Hertfordshire Scrub Hub. And I've made numerous sets of scrubs to go towards Watford Hospital, which has been an absolute blessing and an honour to do. If I can spend a few hours just sewing, just to help and do something useful, it's been really helpful. So that's where I am here.
Oh. So
I've been blessed to have met thousands of folk through so far 15 years. And the proudest moments are supporting people through their end of life journey. Folk have various problems in life, and terminal cancer is obviously a big one. and people's cancer is not necessarily in their bowels, it's in other parts of their body. And we've had medical backing where folk have been hugely constipated because of the medications they're on. I have to be on major opiates going through their end of life. And they've come to me for help, and I've been able to walk on that journey for a very short time. And out of all of their trauma, I've taken away a little bit of discomfort in their bowel, and they've been able to breathe just for that area. And they've hugged me at the door and walked away, and I've never seen them again. And that's my proudest achievement, supporting people who need the care. And really, when you get to the heart of any practitioner, you'll find this story. And that's the reason we get up and go to work every day, because we know that there are people out in this world that are suffering horrendously with their bowels. And they're either, there's nowhere else they can turn. They've gone through, unfortunately, the medical world's got nothing else to offer. They're absolutely on their knees and desperate. And then we're here. And we are always here. I'm sure many of my colleagues will stand by my side on that one. I know them all well. That is my proudest achievement with colonic hydrotherapy. There's a huge amount of support. When you become a client of mine, you're not just here for the hour. I'm here before, I'm here after. I say to clients as they leave the door, you know, the last piece of their aftercare is, if you have a question, phone me. Really seriously, phone me. I'm here for you. I'm not just going to treat you and chuck you out the door and never speak to you again. I have many folk who phone me and go, oh, but my daughter feels this, could be my daughter feels that, my son's in trouble, what do you know, they come forward and talk to me over many aspects. And I will give as much support and care as I can over the phone. Obviously, there comes a line that I have to draw to say, well, actually, no, I now need to see this person. Or I can say, look, I can't see this person because of A, B, or C, because they're too young, but you do need to go forward and speak to maybe somebody else. And I can follow on to other lines for people and feed people into other areas, because obviously colonics is very good, but there are other areas that are also there to help and support everybody. And it's important that everybody reaches the right practitioner or the right medic. Very important. Yes, otherwise thought of as psychosomatic symptoms. When there's a case study, an example, a person has a bereavement, I have witnessed cases where the bowel shuts down because the stress has just got too great. Now that's an enormous extreme top end range of the situation. But when people are at work, for example, and they're under heavy pressure, when the workload's too great, you know, folk are being bullied at work. When there's emotional crises going on, you know, folk are in very unhappy marriages, etc. And the anxiety levels are so high, what happens is the people pull up their pelvic floor, they hold on to their abdomen, they're in perpetual fight and flight mode. This is something we're experiencing a lot in this COVID season. Everybody's hugely anxious, hugely worried. Nobody quite knows whether their job is in place. Nobody knows whether they're ill, their family are going to be ill, whether they will be, or their families are ill. And we're permanently in a state of fight and flight that we just have to settle down in and just keep going. That in turn has a huge impact on the bowel. It makes the bowel shut down. It can make the bowel move faster. It makes people eat incorrectly. We comfort eat because we're desperately trying to settle our souls and take some form of solace from the season. And that in turn leaves bowels very, very upset. So stress is catastrophic. I have many athletes on my books actually, and they have a perfect diet, perfect hydration, a perfect exercise. Their anxiety is absolutely up here. That's it. Bowel shut down, closed off or going too fast. So anxiety, stress, and emotions can run your body rampant. I use the word food rather than nutrition. There's an awful lot of diet advice out there, an awful lot of food advice. It's very, very confusing. And every single human being is very, very different. What works for me isn't going to work for you, and vice versa. So seeing people on a one-to-one basis, I work with them. We work uniquely through what's going on in their world, their life, their stresses, their diets, their hydration, their exercises. And I do throw in some suggestions and some guidance and a little bit of advice. And some of it is correct, some of it nails it, and we're absolutely great. Some of it isn't quite right. You know, some people aren't suitable for particular styles of diet, and you have to work your way through a few options to try and find out what's right for that person. So it's about working out what's right for the individual, and that is obviously very different across the board.